Greetings everyone, 'tis I, Demonic Crimson. It is with a very heavy heart that I must convey the following news. I will not be attending BronyCon this weekend. Because, well, I had to face facts. I don't have a life, I have responsibilities, and those take up a portion of my time. And if anything that going to A-Con has taught me, if I'm not around, they don't get done. And I know what many were thinking, but what about your brother and sister? They're not here. I'm the only child here. So, with that said, I decided to do the next best thing and finally make the video that I had been putting off for quite some time, which is my Brony retrospective. Enjoy.
My little pony, isn't the world a lovely place? My dragons and kings, weaving a charm and a spell. Blessed by the night, holy and bright, called by the toll of the bell. Bloody angels fast descending, moving on a never-bending line. Phantom figures free forever, all the shadows shining ever bright. Neon night, neon night.
Yes, everyone, it's been a long time coming, but I'm finally going to make my own Brony retrospective after seeing so many other Bronies make videos as to why they like My Little Pony, the history of My Little Pony, yada yada yada. I'll provide annotations for any of those other videos because this one's going to be pretty much self-indulgent. The first act, of course, is going to be my introduction to the franchise and the series. Second act is going to be my opinion on each generation and how they measure up to the test of time. The third act is going to be on Bronies, of course, and how they coexist with everyone else in this world and deal with haters. And lastly, I'm going to mention the several contributions that Bronies have made to art and music, as well as how I've managed to fit into all this. And of course, lastly, I'm going to discuss or possibly mention why I have yet to jump on board the whole love and tolerate act that principle that Bronies have adopted. It's quite the tale, and pretty much I'm gonna be whining for about 10 minutes, so bear with me, because I'm not gonna lie, unlike a lot of Bronies, I do think friendship is an overrated concept. So there, let's begin. It shocked the high holy hell out of me when in watching CR's retrospective on that guy with the glasses. He had mentioned that when he was a kid, he tends to watch shows that were targeted towards girls when nothing else was on. At which point I thought, huh, that's pretty much me. I mean, that's how come I, of course, was into Little Mermaid, the animated series. And of course, that's also how I got into Sailor Moon. Okay, how I got into Sailor Moon was a little different. I mean, it was an anime, and I was getting into anime at the time. But for My Little Pony, well, oh gee, why do I begin with this? Toys! Freaking toys! Yeah, my first introduction was, of course, watching the commercials like this one on TV before, seeing the show. And of course, when I would see commercials like this, I'd think, oh, how cute, a toy for girls to play with. Yes, unlike today. Say hi, Fluttershy. You would never catch me playing one of these things, ever! But of course, I was a boy with a limited perception of what it meant to be a man. So there you have it. But in terms of the cartoon itself, I blame my love of animals. let's face it, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a vet, and I had a huge love of animals. I still do, but, you know, I'm more of a writer this time around. But, you know, I like crocodiles, I like cheetahs, I like, hedgehogs and ponies. And, of course, this cartoon had unicorns, ponies, pegasi, dragons. I mean, yeah, it was for girls, but if you were a guy who was into that kind of stuff, you know, minus knights and warriors, trolls, and whatnot, swords and violence. Yeah, that was the only drawback from this thing, but I'll get more into that later. It pretty much had a lot of fantasy elements a guy like me can enjoy. I was a very simple kid who grew up into a rather simple adult, so, yeah. Yeah. Buck! Speaking of G1, if I'm not mistaken, this was my introduction to it. Yeah, the My Little Pony movie. Not exactly the first film, one of the first introductions to the series ever, but I just remember seeing this thing, and it's the only thing I can remember really. What with seeing these three harmless hags of ugly, the icky purple stuff with, wow, it actually had faces? Holy crap! It was a sentient being. Huh. Oh no. And of course, this is where I learned that unicorns can teleport. Apparently. And of course, my memory serves me. Hey, these three were beaten by a rainbow that trapped them in their volcano home, and yep, that's how this ended. Oh my gosh, what was I, like 3 when I first saw this? Good lord, and I still remember this? Wow. Some things just don't die. Oh, good lord. And I'm surprised I can actually remember this. Watching this now, or shortly before recording this, well, let's just say this movie was rather, bland. Oh, stuff happened, but it was still, meh. And that's pretty much my assessment of G1 as a whole. It's just meh. Although, here's the thing that might shock many of you. Nostalgia Chick in her review of the My Little Pony movie said that there wasn't much of a conflict. And in a roundabout sense, there wasn't. Because, well, what little conflict it had was so lighthearted and watered down by so much cutesiness. I'm pretty sure many of you looking back on it right now are probably looking at this going, there was conflict to this thing? And I think ultimately that's kind of the problem. Most of the people readily don't remember this for its plots or conflicts, because it was watered down by so much wubby-dubby cuteness that even probably to this day, a lot of people would have to pay keen attention into what they're watching in order to see any form of plot or conflict in it. And I think that was the idea. Case in point, Spike Search, which was the first G1 episode I found on YouTube.
Good return, Spike.
Yeah, you could say the ball is just spiked. In any case, through the plot device of a baby bird trying to find his family, Spike comes to the conclusion that he has no idea where he came from, so he decides to hang out with a band of dragons. A band of no good, thieving, bully jerk dragons. I mean, look at this crap. And he just sits there and watches. But oh, wait. Hold on for a second.
This isn't right.
Oh yeah, you're hardly one to talk, Spike. You were a minion at one point in your career. A freaking minion! Though I guess a character can change his stripes. I mean, heck, it's happened once before.
Smart move, ponies. Give us food and keep it coming. Yeah, especially the cupcakes.
Oh, no. Mm-mm. You don't want the cupcakes, man. Trust me. I don't know what they're made out of. It's not pretty. All in all, much like its successor, Dragon Quest of Friendship is Magic, Spike comes to the conclusion that he has to focus on the here and now instead of worrying about where he came from, and maybe just someday he might actually run into some dragons who aren't big fat bully jerks. Wonderful, right? And don't worry, I will do a comparison between this and Dragon Quest later on. But for right now, on to the next episode I was going to use as an example.